What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So, I want to talk about some things that Too Short said on his live stream show that he has where he interviews people. You know, it seems to play out more like a conversation versus an interview, but nevertheless, he has conversations with, special guests, celebrities, and the special guest on this live stream was the rapper Saweetie. And they were talking about some things, and they got on the topic of interracially dating, biracial children, discrimination among different ethnic and racial groups, um, his feelings about white women rapping Sweetie's song lyrics as well. He said quite a few things. So I'm going to play the clip of the things that he and the rapper Sweetie discussed, and then I'll come back and give you my opinions on the things that they discussed. So here we go.
Period, point blank, nothing better than anything in 2019 was I was hanging out at a lot of like mixed clubs and mixed environments where it's multiracial and stuff, and I just love it when the white girls sing the 8-figure with a big they love that line. They love it. They love it. I feel like you probably didn't intend to do that, but to me that's one of those things that fights racism. That breaks down racial separation and stuff, because to be able to say it and express it, whether it's true or not, you saying these words that it sounds like music. It's like, it sounds like you shouldn't be saying that, but what you're really saying is, I love interracial relationships.
Do you like interracial relationships?
I am from the Bay. Does that answer that?
Yeah, so let people know what they can find in the Bay Area, because I know there's a lot of Filipinos out there, and I'm half
Okay,
Filipino.
so when I leave from the Bay, as a youngster moving around, you would see a girl, she kind of fair skin, lighter skin, and she got a little hair, and whatever, curly, straight hair, whatever, and you're like, hey, what you mixed with? And they would get offended. They'd be like, I'm black, and I'm like, no, you definitely mixed with something. And they would get mad, but in the Bay, you could meet a girl before you even say her name, be like, hey, what you mixed with? And she'd probably tell you that her mama's this, her daddy's that, and mixed heritage women have always been my favorite. Like, I don't think I've ever fallen in love with a woman that wasn't mixed.
Really?
And the debate did that to me.
Really?
Because it's something you get, I feel that way about life too. Like biracial babies are, you could take the two ugliest from different races, and make a baby, and that baby just be beautiful. It happens all the time. You laughing, but it's true.
Bruh.
You be like, I know y'all didn't make that little pretty baby. And you can see the features in it, though. You like, but y'all did. I see it. True story.
One thing that I really experienced about traveling outside the Bay Area, what's crazy is, like, there ain't a lot of Filipinos in the rest of America. Because when I say that I'm mixed with Filipino, they be like, you have exotic. But I'm like, nah, like, in the Bay, that's normal. So I think it's crazy how different areas got their like dominant type of heritages, because when you go to the Bay, it's Asians and it's black folks.
Yeah, I seen a picture of your mama. You got Chip right off the old block. She did you good.
I'm defensive when it comes to my mom.
I ain't said nothing except I know where you got it from.
Oh yeah, she cute. She fine. She finer than me. So yeah.
She finer than me. Hey.
Because being pretty is just such a word that's been thrown around. And you feel me? I heard your comment about, you feel me, when people come together, they make a beautiful baby. But black women is beautiful, period, on their own, with their own blood. You feel me?
No doubt about it. And I have in all of my mixed adventures, I have had wonderful relationships with beautiful black women and other women of one race. But I like the mix, man. That's just my thing. That's just something the Bay did to me, and I you know I like the mix though. Um, when it's authentic, you know what I mean? I don't like no wannabes. I don't want nobody trying to pretend to be nothing else. Like if you a black girl with a white mama and you was raised in a white neighborhood and you identify with white, you might be light skinned, but you a white girl to me. Be a white girl. You don't gotta get around black people and try to act like it. Be a white girl, and
Right.
and any variation of that, just be who you are. So I'm cool with that. The Bay. I keep giving credit to the Bay. The Bay taught me that. It just taught me, like, going out to Berkeley and going over to San Francisco, different areas, and going to the suburbs. You out in Walnut Creek somewhere or something. People, it's so diverse. I just learned to not really get into the specs of race. And I think that what we're going through right now as citizens of the United States, not just the whole world, but the U.S., like, we really got to, like, let go of this whole race thing. It's been going on for a long time, hundreds of years. Somebody taught you to hate somebody else. Think for yourself. Investigate for yourself. Human beings have contributed to the human race throughout the ages. Not just white people, not just black people. Human beings, Asian people have given great things. Native Americans have given us great things. People from everywhere. People from India have given us great things that, like, science, math. Everybody contributed. Africans, everybody contributed. So I think that at some point we gotta, like, you as the person who's been programmed the wrong way, somebody taught you to hate something. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying the person who's been taught to hate. You didn't hate on your own. You got taught that. Like, you gotta just let it go, bro. Let the hate go, and then we'll get to all this other stuff about how we gonna fix ourselves completely as a whole. But you yourself just need to stop hating for no good reason. And that goes.
No, I hear you, and I feel like unity, colorism, and racism is real. So as a unit, because, like, I know I'm mixed, but at this time, you feel me? Like, black is something that I'm standing for because of what's going on. So we need to stay together as a unit and just, like, acknowledge the beauty of blackness, the beauty of unity, and the beauty and the beauty of sticking together.
Unity.
All right, so you guys watched it. So what do you guys think about it? Well, I'll let you know what I think about it. First I'll say, speak on Saweetie for a moment. I'll say that Saweetie, in her relationship with Quavo, seems to be an unproblematic, biracial woman, black man relationship couple. Seemingly, I haven't really heard about them being in the media for anything that is, like, colorist or even controversial. And hopefully they continue to be an unproblematic couple. All right. And also, I'll say that Saweetie, she seemed to be perhaps a combination of liking some of the things that Too Short was saying and also being a bit uncomfortable with some of the things that Too Short was saying. But, let's get into this, though. So, first, Too Short says that he likes when he sees white girls in the club or other venues singing the line from Saweetie's song, My Type. You know that song, like, that's my type, that's my type. So singing the line, 8-figure in with a big D. He said that in the song. So he likes seeing that. He likes seeing the white girls in the club, singing that line especially. And he believes that it helps fight racism. Yeah, like seriously. You know, this is what the battle with racism needed, right? White girls saying the N word and fetishizing black men for money and D. That completely helps to eradicate racism. Or does it just provide a comfortable position within racism? You know, like, oh yeah, it's racism, but I got a good spot here. You know, also, Too Short thinks that these women are saying that they love interracial relationships like he does. And I don't think that's quite the case. Well, for one, those women could just be in the moment and just be feeling the song and feeling the lyrics, They in the club, they hype, and they just, going along with the vibe at the moment, which is cool outside of them saying the N word. Um, but don't read too much into it though. you know and also, I feel like Too Short likes this because he feels like the white girls are referring to him again. He likes interracial relationships, you know and I think he may feel like, when they singing that line, and whatnot, they referring to him. And Too Short is 54 years old. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, but depending on the age of these white women, these white women, they may not be referring to him. Yeah, if these are like 20-something-year-old white women, they might not be referring to him, and that's okay. You know, but I'm just saying. And he also, well, for one, before I get into that, notice like the fetishization. Notice the fetishization there. Like, the white woman calling him an N, saying he got money, saying he got a big D. I mean, he like that. He like that fetishization. You know, and I think, that fetishization, he takes it as, you know, some form of validation that, he is desirable. You know? Although, if a black woman was taking her fetishization as being desirable, we would be really quick to, like as a community, we would be really quick to let her know that that ain't it, sis. Like, sister, that ain't it. All right. That white boy don't love you. That white boy just fetishizing you. That white boy just want a piece of the chocolate, sister. That's all. He just want to get all up in your chocolate. Your chocolate and goodness, sister. That's all. He gonna come in there and go. He gonna smash and dash you. That's all. They don't really love you, sister. No white man or no non-black man ever loved a black woman. Never cared about a black woman in the history of the universe, sister. All right. But the non-black women, they love the brothers, sister. We the most desirable men on the planet. We got options. I'm sorry for your sister, but you don't got options. Nobody wants you. No, sir. Right. Pretty quick to let the black women know what's really up. And also during the video, Too Short spoke about biracial children. Mixed children, biracial children. tomato, tomato, right? And said that, they're beautiful even if they come from parents who are not so beautiful, parents who are like ugly, right? But the children still look good. So low key, there's like that fetishization of biracial children coming from a black man too, right? Um, and it's important to point this out because like a lot of the black men on social media like to point the finger at black women, but I'm like, well, I see a lot more of it coming from the black men than the black women when it comes to, you know, going goo goo gaga crazy over biracial children and fetishizing them, and most importantly, making them. Who is leading the charge in making biracial children? It's not black women. Black women do participate. We're not going to pretend like that doesn't happen. But again, who's leading the charge? Who is at the front of this biracial children movement, if you want to call it that? You know, who's ushering them into the black community and helping them to perpetuate colorism? And to be fair, some black women do participate in that too. But black men are definitely leading the charge on that, though. So, yeah. And, Sweetie, she's biracial. She's part Filipino, part black. So, I wonder, how do you think that Sweetie was feeling about that? You know, based on the video footage. What do you think Sweetie was feeling about that? Diamante. What do you think that Diamante was feeling about that? She may have liked it in some cases, and she may not have in other cases, perhaps. And also, like, Too Short, he's like on some all lives matter stuff, right? Talking about, we all gotta let go of racism. We gotta let go, we gotta come together. It's about the human race. Everybody don't contribute to the human race. Asian folks, can I get an amen? Amen. Native Americans, can I get another amen? I had a dream. I dreamed a dream that was full of white women and other non-black women. It was reality as it seemed, but then Keisha came out of nowhere and started yelling and screaming and being all loud, ghetto and ratchet and twerking, wearing weave, throwing around lace front wigs, hating on everybody. Keisha turned the black man's dream into the black man's nightmare. Keisha, 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 it was not nice to meet you. Oh no. So, that's what Too Short is on. That's his I Have a Dream. That's his I Have a Dream speech right there. And, he's speaking about letting go of racism as if black folks are the one who are keeping it going. I think that message needs to be directed primarily at Caucasian folk. Why don't you go into the clubs where you saw those white women and tell them about that, and about letting go of racism? Well, he thinks they let go of racism because they in the club singing, they want an 8-figure in with a big D. So he already thinks that has, helped to eradicate racism. And just an FYI, prejudice does not equal racism, by the way. It would be prejudice plus power equals racism. And also, I do think that this is like low key, like a lazy, like non-competitive, ineffective way to fight racism. Like, oh, we all just the same. We all one race. We all the human race. We sure is. We all humans. We all bleed red. All our blood be red. And we all black when we get in the bed. We sure is. We gotta stop this racism. And I think that this is low-key, non-competitive loser talk because I think that the black men know that it's just too much work. It's too much work to put into, to compete and to fight against racism. So it's more like, oh, instead of doing that, let's just, pretend like we're all the same and that, we should just get rid of it altogether. It's just, it's easier to kumbaya, than to stand up, put in the work to compete. Right? And he also mentioned that, he likes biracial mixed women, and those are the only women who he has ever fell in love with. And, he just said, he likes, all groups of women, but he just likes the mix for some reason, And that's just what he prefers, right? And Too Short, he blamed it on the Bay, and that's just, where he came from. That was just what was popping off, where he came from. And also, I noticed that he said that he doesn't want biracial girls with white mamas. I don't think there's such thing as a black girl with a white mom. Um, but he said he doesn't want the biracial ladies to act hood. If they ain't from the hood, he prefers them to act white. If they come from a white environment, he views them as white girls. That's interesting. So, I do think that there is some sort of that is at play sometimes when it comes to the black men who get with like racially ambiguous women. So like they do view them as non-black a lot of the times until perhaps they get called out on some stuff about being a sellout or something like that. Then it's like, oh, they black, we all black. We come in different shades and colors and varieties. We do. And you just a hater. Why you so mad? You jealous. You bitter. It ain't my fault. We can have preferences. We can have our preferences. You got yours. I got mine. So do. And, preferences, folks got a right to like what they like, even if it comes from a problematic place. Ultimately, me personally, I think people just have a right to like what they like. I don't think it's necessarily right that they like what they like, but they do have a right to like what they like. Right? And do y'all think that Too Short was flirting with Saweetie? Y'all think that? Maybe. And he also shouted out Saweetie's mom, saying, he sees where Saweetie gets it from, right? A chip off the old block. Oh, Saweetie, you got a fine-looking mama. See, I know where you done got your good looks from, Saweetie. See, that's why I like it when black men get with non-black women and have them biracial children come out looking like you, Saweetie. You're a nice-looking biracial. Now, I see why they call you Saweetie. Because you make men want to just take a nice big bite out of you, baby. Saweetie, sometime later in the interview, I kind of edited because there were some things that didn't really pertain. But sometime later, about probably between 5 and 8 minutes later, she spoke about that situation and said, basically, black women who are fully black are beautiful too. Um, and what do you guys think about that? Do you think that Sweetie, she was just doing damage control, pandering, and just like, y'all don't cancel me. Yeah, I didn't say it, he did. Right? Or do you think that maybe she did feel that way, legitimately? And I think she tried to do it in a perhaps like a non-combative way as to not, disrupt the vibe of the interview because it seemingly was a good vibe. And I know she probably didn't want to change the vibe and make it become awkward. I can understand that. But then again, some people are saying, well, maybe she should have just went in there, showed out, and made it awkward. But, what do you guys think about that? And also, jumping back on preferences, is it all right to have a preference, do you think? I mean, technically, Too Short did not bash black women in the process. I don't think he said anything that was disparaging about monoracial, fully black, unambiguous black women in the process of that. Although some people may start to just make assumptions about what he may think about them, but he didn't vocalize it, at least. I'll say that. So is it all right to have a preference? Because I know some people, especially black men, will be like, well, it's just a preference. And folks got a right to have a preference. And I agree with that. However, the comedian actress B. Simone had a preference for entrepreneurs, for businessmen. And people let her know, both black men and black women, they let her know that that preference was wrong, that there was something wrong with having a preference like that. And I feel like B. Simone had that preference based on what she was saying because of her lifestyle, that she feels like a man who's an entrepreneur would fit better in her lifestyle versus a man who works a 9 to 5. However, because her preference excluded the average black man, it was an issue. Since the average black man is not an entrepreneur, but rather a 9 to 5 guy, it was a problem. People felt some type of a way. Both the black men and the black male identified black women felt some type of way about that. And they made sure to let her know about that. And these black women who are black male identified end up taking on like a mentality of like an overseer. Like they got to keep those black women in check. Like, oh, they a special black woman, but I got to keep these other black women in check. So, B. Simone had a preference. Sweetie, she low-key expressed a preference when she said, if he can't buy you a Birkin, send him back lurking. Some people were offended by that comment. Personally, I just took it as a joke. I think she was just stunting for, the gram, stunting for social media or whatever, and I think that's part of her brand anyway, about, being kind of like high class, having a lot of money and whatnot. And I think she has like a YouTube web series of her own as well. And I think she does something called like Icy University, where she helps women level up, I think. Maybe. I'm not sure about that last one, though. But folks took issues with that, and they felt like, whoa, 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 whoa. Do you know how expensive a Birkin is? Whoa. Like, most black women are not worth buying a Birkin for. Whoa. And there were black women coming in the mix too. Yeah, us black women, we don't need no Birkins. We ain't worth that. We barely worth a trip to Goodwill. Pay less shoe stores, that's an upgrade for us. Shoot, when a black man take me to pay less to get some shoes, I feel like I done won a scratch out ticket. Done won cash 3, cash 4. Shoot, give me some more, Black K. Shoot. See, y'all be messing it up for the real black queens like me. I don't need all them Birkins and stuff. Shoot, just take me to Payless and Goodwill. Shoot, take me on a date to Popeye's Chicken or KFC or something. Yeah. Y'all be asking for way too much from y'all black kids. See, that's why y'all ain't got no black cane now. That's why y'all complaining. That's why y'all gotta level up and go run after non-black men like they want you. They don't want you either. Shoot, give me a black cane any day of the week, honey. Any day of the week. So, yeah, so that's how some black women are. Was reacting to Sweetie's Birkin bag comment. And then, of course, Doja Cat. People assumed her preference, and it wasn't black men, so they took issues with that. And notice that these women are on the lighter side of things, so the lighter skinned women can catch it too. But ultimately, when the preference falls outside of what is considered standard and what can be offered, it's going to be a problem. And this is for black men and black women, right? Too short's preference probably may end up irking some black women because most black women, like black women most of the women in the black community are not mixed. I'll put it like that. Most of the women in the black community are brown skin and dark skin. And just like when it came to B. Simone and Sweetie's preference, like most black men aren't able to provide and fulfill the requirements to be those preferences. So it's a problem, right? Ultimately, that's where it comes from. The preference making people feel inadequate. People kind of taking it a bit to heart. Like, oh, like what's wrong with me? And I get it. I understand that. But sometimes you do have to just take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt, across the board, and just say you just gotta let them go. Just let them go. Let them have the preference, all right? And you just try and concentrate on you and you improving yourself and raising your standards, maintaining your standards. I mean, of course, don't get it twisted. We can still call out problematic preferences and have conversations, dialogues, debates, etc. about them. But, also, to an extent, some of this you just got to just let it go. Not hold on to it for too long, especially if it's going to end up eating you inside, But that's all I have to say for a moment. What do you guys have to say about all this? Let me know in the comments section. And to the next video, adios and goodbye for now.